Today, in the media conference with Lal Goel, which is brought to you by V4NEWS, Global TV, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV, News Gaon Se, Samvad Sarokar News, Organ Donation India Foundation and Gyan, our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's current topic is the International Noise Awareness Day. Yes, the world is observing International Noise Awareness Day. Never let the noise of the world overpower the stillness of your soul. International Noise Awareness Day is a global campaign founded in 1996 by the Center for Hearing and Communication, CHC, aiming to raise awareness of the effects of noise on the welfare and health of people. Noise affects people in many ways, but only deafness and annoyance receive actual interest from the general public. Worldwide, people are called upon to take part via various actions on this occasion. Open days on hearing from acousticians, lectures in public health departments, universities and schools, panels of experts, noise level measuring actions and readings. The day is commemorated on the last Wednesday of the April of each year. Activities aimed at creating a focus not only on noise but also on means of reducing noise levels are organized in a number of countries all over the world, including Brazil, Chile, Germany, Italy, Spain, and United States. In recent years, there have been related events initiated in Asia, including Singapore and Australia. Vincent de Paul once said, "Noise makes no good. Good makes no noise." Noise is unwanted sound considered unpleasant, loud, or disruptive to hearing. From a physics standpoint, noise is indistinguishable from desired sound, as both are vibrations through a medium such as air or water. The difference arises when the brain receives and perceives a sound. Noise pollution, also known as environmental noise or sound pollution, is the propagation of noise with ranging impacts on the activity of human or animal life, most of them harmful to a degree. The source of outdoor noise worldwide is mainly caused by machines, transport, and propagation systems. Poor urban planning may give rise to noise disintegration or pollution. Side by side, industrial and residential buildings can result in noise pollution in the residential area. Some of the main sources of noise in residential areas include loud music, transportation, traffic, rail, airplanes, etc., lawn care maintenance, construction, electrical generators, explosions, and people. Documented problems associated with noise in urban environments go back as far as ancient Rome. Today, the average noise level of 98 decibels exceeds the WHO value of 50 decibel allowed for residential areas. High noise levels can contribute to increased risk of cardiovascular diseases. Scientists from the University of Gothenburg found out that high noise levels increase an individual's pulse rate and cause constriction of blood vessels, thus making him or her vulnerable to heart attack or high blood pressure. Psychological disorder. Research shows that too much noise makes people irritable, nervous, irrational in decision making, socially aloof, unproductive at work. It can even lead to emotional instability. Poor sleep habits. Excessive noise can spoil a person's sleep schedule. Noise pollution is one of the major environmental concerns in India today, and sadly, many are unaware of the hazards it can cause. It is very unfortunate that we all are subjected to some form of loud noises for a considerable amount of time during the day. It is a daily dilemma to bear with the unnecessary havoc created by the blowing of horns on the roads, the madness created by the loudspeakers, the festive time expressions of happiness, any procession being carried through the streets, the too much of background scores of Indian melodramatic serials, creating a mess in almost every household, and innumerable other sources we can't even think of. It seems like people have a major perception about happiness, which they think can better be expressed by creating loud noise. Even a childbirth in rural areas is informed by crackling sounds created by kitchen utensils. Nowadays, apart from Diwali, whether it is a marriage or it is about being winning any match, bursting loud crackers has become a norm. Unless you don't blow away the eardrums, you are not happy. A study conducted to measure the levels of noise in 4 different zones by the Central Pollution Control Board revealed that the highest noise levels during the day were recorded from silence zones, including educational places, hospitals, religious spots, whereas the lowest was recorded in residential areas. During the night, the highest pollution levels were found to be in intersecting areas, and the lowest was in all the industrial areas. As per the study conducted on noise levels due to Diwali firecrackers by Awaz Foundation, along with the Maharashtra Pollution Control Board, following 4 consecutive years, the noise pollution reached to over 125 decibel. This is a saddening fact that this is never mentioned on the packaging of these products. Even the authorities are made aware about the situation, yet they don't work on them. And to discuss very, very important topic today, that is the International Noise Awareness Day, we have a very high-powered, elite, experienced, knowledgeable, those who are authorities in their field, panelists with us. I will just give the names and the designations of all the panelists who are going to give their thoughts today. And they are Dr. Jayesh Lele. He is the Honorary Secretary General, Indian Medical Association, and he is based in Mumbai. Dr. Sameer Bhargav, he is the National President AOI, as well as Professor HBT Medical College. He is also based in Mumbai. Ms. Sumeria Abdul Ali, renowned environmentalist, convener Awaz Foundation, Mumbai. Mr. P. Vijayan IPS, Inspector General of Police, Thiruvananthapuram, Kerala. Dr. C.N. Raja, National Vice President 2022, Indian Medical Association. He is based in Erode, Tamil Nadu. Dr. Sarika Verma, ENT surgeon with focus on allergy treatment and national convener NISS. Dr. John Paniker, senior enter consultant, chairman IMA National Initiative for Safe Sound, Trivandrum, Kerala. So now to discuss this topic, I would like to invite my first guest, and he is Dr. Jayesh Lele. Dr. Jayesh Lele is the Honorary Secretary General, Indian Medical Association, Mumbai. He was Honorary Secretary, IMA Hospital Board of India, 2016 to 2020. He was President, IMA Maharashtra State from 2015 to 16. He received IMA Professor Sridhar Sharma Oration Award for the year 2017-18 in recognition of the services rendered to IMA. He received award from IMA headquarter and IMA Maharashtra, like IMA Nationals Individual Community Service Award 2015. He delivered Thane oration on CEA at MapCon 2016. He is a member of Maharashtra Medical Council. He is a member Accreditation Committee and Ethical Committee. He gave many talks on CA, NABH, and other hospital issues. Welcome, Dr. Jayesh Lele, on our show. Dr. Jayesh Lele, you know, today we are observing, we can't say celebration, it's an observation that we are observing International Noise Awareness Day. Now, you being the Honorary Secretary General of Indian Medical Association, which is always doing lots of work in medical field, they are always the leader. Now, we would like to know from you your views on International Noise Awareness Day. Dr. Jayesh Lele, please.
Thank you, Mr. Goel, for kind words. Respected entire panelists, because all those members whom you talked about, Dr. Sameer, he is a member from my branch only, IMA Mumbai West. Dr. John Paniker, Dr. Raja, and all other friends. Dr. Sarika Verma also, she is an activist in IMA. And I'm very happy that today we are observing this basically International Noise Pollution Day, and making people, making entire community aware about the issues of the noise, what we day in and out come. Many times people are not aware exactly what is the noise pollution, how it is caused that. But now last couple of years, the entire various associations have become more and more active. People have realized the importance of this noise pollution. And as you just mentioned just now, the WHO standards of 65 to 70 decibels below does not cause issue about the noise pollution, but anything above that, and especially for continuous hours of prolonged this noise increasing above that 70, 80 decibels is a definitely a problem for the community. Lot of issues we have realized in this. Basically, noise pollution, as I understand, according to the World Health Association, the 70 decibels are not damaging the living organism, regardless of how long and consistent exposure. But anything above 8 hours and 85 decibels may be hazardous. There are various fields, especially where people are not even aware. But now we are looking at like, for example, indoor pollutions. Now the pub culture has come. Every day in the evening, if you see around, there are so many pubs are there, so many places, the hotels are there, and the noises are there, and the sound goes on. In spite of the government taking lot of precautions and saying that after the 10, there should not be any much outside activity, and the decibel should go down. People should have a very peaceful night, but it is not occurring at places more than 10 p.m. There are a lot of activities, especially the marriages, especially the firecrackers. And in fact, when we came in Mumbai some time back, about 30 years, that time we used to hear the birds humming in the morning. That all has been disappeared, and it is all because of the gradual industrialization, gradual air traffic, and other air pollution, which has caused noise pollution caused by the heavy traffic in and around Mumbai. Too many cars, too many buses developing into the these issues. There are also very important issues connected to the patients, which land up with the hypertension continuously, because over the period we have seen that the blood pressure rises and the cardiovascular complications are increasing. There are a lot of psychological issues. There may not be directly involved dementia, but definitely with this noise pollution, there is a disturbance of thought, there is a disturbance of mechanism in the brain, which can cause dementia uh, more and more into the problem of Alzheimer and the dementia. This causes continuously, and subsequently the person becomes literally agile, or is not in a position to take proper decisions. Along with this, what we are now seeing is the child, because the children, they are using, so many times they are using the mobile phones, they are using the music, loud musics are there, dances are going on, and this music has caused the children development on the psychological issues. This is a very serious matter which we must brought into consideration. For the long-term use of this, continuously decibels are rising, there will be hearing loss, and subsequently after the hearing loss, what they do go land up is the loss of interest into the surrounding, loss of interest into the teaching or learning. And especially the students, when they are in the school, and if they are using this continuous high end earphones and machinery, because nowadays all music is available in the small phone also. So all those things are going to be the additional burden which is causing on the noise pollution. Third, another very important issue for an elderly person is a sleep disturbance, which literally causes unrestlessness, blood pressure, and other issues along with the sleep disturbances. Child development, which is going to be the future, and it is going to affect in the longer run very much, because the child is not interested in learning, child is not interested in taking up the classes. How will the growth will occur? And in 2001, the hearing dysfunction study was carried out, which showed lot of effect onto the child because of this continuous high decibel sound pollution to that. Another very important issue which is occurring day in and out is the marine life as well as the wildlife. And especially in the Mumbai, we don't find that much of the wildlife around. But we have seen while traveling into the various places inside the city or outskirts or inside the states level, it is rural areas. The formerly what kind of a life was there of the animals and all, which is becoming little less. Again, it is probably because of the attributed to the noise pollution, which is causing that. In the longer run, this all will affect into the social as well as economic cost, because ultimately what we are going to suffer is a growth and the development of the child, growth and the development of a person. Industrial issues which are related to the noise pollution is going to affect, or somehow or the other we will have to curtail, we will have to cut down the noise pollution levels, we will have to cut down ways and means. We must guard our own selves, we must guard our children, we must guard the entire community at large, that the causes of noise pollution, no honking, especially a simple in between the cities that come, that on the no honk should be there for any car unless it is required. So all those small measures can be put together, and subsequently which will give us a good strength, and the community will understand the noise pollution, community will understand the issues. So especially in the big cities, we are seeing the trains, we are seeing the buses which are causing the noise pollution, and all those things will need to curtail. So I once again I congratulate the entire panelist team, and these are the my opening remarks for what is going to the issues about the noise pollution, how the internationally we must have, especially in India when we are talking about the growth factors and the industrialization factors and the city factors, how should it should affect, and subsequently it is our own duty and our doctor community make people understand right from the school level, introduce some kind of lessons or some kind of activity in the school itself. It must be a good activity where the children will get accustomed to, children will be liking to play around and understand the noise pollution. So I think this some promotional activity of this nature should start on this International Noise Pollution Day to prevent the further damage and to reduce the restriction of the complications. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lele, for giving your opening remarks. And Dr. Lele made many points, but the one interesting point which he has made is that the young generation, which is going to the clubs, nightclubs, pubs, etc., in the hotels and other places, they are exposed to a very high decibel music. Ultimately, it's harming them, although today they are enjoying. Similarly, the young children's, when the parents are giving them the earphones, they are forgetting one thing, or the TV is on with full decibel, that how much harm they are creating. He has also mentioned about the impact on the marine as well as wildlife. And he says earlier it was very common to see such type of lives in Mumbai, but now it is very rare. Only you can see when you are going to a rural area. And he says we have to start these initiatives from the school level so that the children can be taught the pollution, the harm, the impact of the noise pollution, so that the life can be easy. Otherwise, this noise pollution, which we are exposed now every day due to the industrialization, due to the development, is going to harm us very badly. And he says that it's the duty of the doctors community to come forward and to take this moment forward. Thank you very much, Dr. Jayesh Lele. You have explained very nicely. I'm sure all our viewers are going to enlighten. Today's session is very important session for their life, because they are not aware. We all are not aware that how the noise is harming us. We think that only the tension or other things or the diabetes, but the one of the main cause is the noise, which is a silent killer to us. Thank you very much, Dr. Lele. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Dr. Sameer Bhargav. Dr. Sameer Bhargav is the National President AOI for the year 2020-2021. He is the professor in HBT Medical College at Dr. R.N. Cooper Hospital, Mumbai, and consultant at Hinduja Hospital, Khar, Mumbai. He has been a gold medalist, securing first rank at both MS ENT and DORL exam in the year 1991 from Mumbai. He has done his MS ENT from KEM Hospital, Mumbai, and DLO from Royal College of Surgeons, London. He has been invited faculty at more than 70 live surgical and cadaveric workshop all over the country since 1996 and has been guest speaker and panelist at several conferences and workshops, both national and international. He has been course director for cadaveric FESS workshops at HBT Medical College every year since 2015. He has delivered several prestigious orations across the country. He is a co-author of a short textbook of ENT diseases, which has been read by more than 2.5 lakh students and has contributed as author of chapters in several postgraduate books and several articles in national and international journals of repute. Awarded Vocational Excellence Award in 2019 by Rotary Club of Bombay West, featured in list of Mumbai's top doctors 2019 and 2020 published in India Today. He has been an active Rotarian and awarded Best Rotarian Award 2015-16 by Rotary Club of Bombay Sea Coast. Welcome, Dr. Samir Bhargav on our show. Dr. Bhargav, you have heard what Dr. Jayesh Lele has spoken, and in his opening remark, he has put the ball now rolling. Now, we would like to know, because you are an ENT surgeon, a professor, so you are dealing with all those diseases directly, although the indirectly, as Dr. Lele has mentioned, those diseases, but the direct disease, the deafness and all those things, being the ENT surgeon. So we would like to know from you your views on International Noise Awareness Day. Dr. Samir Bhargav, please. Please unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Lal, for those very kind words of introduction. Good morning to all the elite panelists and to all your viewers. As we are discussing on this International Noise Awareness Day, you and Dr. Lele have highlighted very well all the reasons why we have noise pollution today and the importance of that. But as a doctor and more so as an ENT surgeon, let me highlight the medical aspects and dissect that for you as to why it is important that we should do something about noise and noise pollution. Now, if we look at the word noise, if you look at the origin, it comes from a Latin word nauseam, and we all know how unpleasant nausea can be. So why do we not do much about the noise? Because it is something which is an invisible danger. It is a silent killer. Unlike air pollution and water pollution, which we can always see around us, noise is invisible. And knowledge about all what noise can do is also not there. So what the mind does not know, the eye just refuses to see. So much so that we are today, everybody is, listening to music and wants louder and louder music. So whatever is one man's music can become a noise for another. So if I define noise pollution, then it would be defined as you have actually highlighted that it is any unwanted, unpleasant or a disturbing sound which can affect the health and well-being of humans and living organisms. That is very, very important. So we always talk about noise pollution affecting humans, but we forget that it can affect the birds in the air, it can affect the animals on the ground, and it can affect the aquatic life also in a very, very grave way. I will refer and allude to that a little later. So basically, noise pollution causes discomfort, affects the peace of mind, and eventually affects and decreases the quality of life. So when we are right now, we are on global TV, and when the TV is pleasant, you are listening to news, you are listening to so many things. But when it becomes so loud that it prevents you from going to sleep, or the traffic that we negotiate every day, when it starts giving you a headache, that's where it's transcending the boundary of mere noise and going into noise pollution. I would like to quote, of course, we mentioned about WHO and all the work that it is doing and highlighting the effects of noise pollution. But there's a very interesting study by the European Environmental Agency, EEA. And what they noticed is that noise is responsible every year for 16,600 premature deaths and more than 72,000 hospitalizations every year. So that is in Europe, where the population is much lesser. And if we look at India, we can just extrapolate their figures, and then we can realize how severe the whole problem is. Again, they also came up with the figures that 113 million people are affected by road traffic noise levels above 55 decibels. If you, and I'm sure Ms. Abdul Ali will bear me out on that, the noise levels at our traffic signals is 75, 80, 85, even 90 decibels. And here we are talking about 55 decibels. So what is very important is the health aspect that comes up because of the noise pollution. And that is something that I would like to highlight, because noise can affect, as you said, very rightly said, that noise can affect people in many ways, but it is only deafness and annoyance that receive actual interest. We don't realize that what kind of a silent killer this noise can be. So when we talk about the effect of noise pollution on the health and even causing death, then let me highlight the most important thing, which is the cardiovascular effects. So as you earlier alluded to the fact that noise can cause increase in the heart rate, it can cause the blood pressure of an individual to go up. So indirectly, while you're sleeping, and if the level of noise is so much, it leads to increased cortisol production, and all this eventually is going to constrict your blood vessels and become a predisposing factor for a heart attack. So it's very important that we realize that the cardiac side effects are something that need to be really dreaded in case of noise pollution. The other major effect that it can cause is, of course, on sleep. And it's very important. We all know how rejuvenating sleep is. If you cannot sleep well, you don't get up fresh, your quality of life gets affected. And you start becoming cranky, your fatigue sets in early, you have low energy levels, etc. So it's very important that after 10 o'clock, which is the normal sleeping time for people, the noise levels should be such that they don't disturb the sleep of an individual. Dr. Lele mentioned the effect on children, how so much of noise pollution is having effect on these children. And there are enough studies and more to highlight the fact that there is a lot of effect on the cognitive and behavioral changes that start taking place. So children are not able to concentrate. Why children, even adults, if there is a lot of noise around the area, they will not be able to concentrate on their work. Your ability to focus goes away. You may start forgetting things. Memory disturbances start coming up. So these are all the psychological disturbances start happening. People start becoming irritable. They start becoming aggressive. Sometimes it can even lead to a depression. So much so, because if you are so unhappy with things, and this can become one of the precipitating factors for that. Communication. If there is noise around your place, you cannot communicate effectively with other people. And coming to the last point as far as health is concerned, and me being an ENT surgeon, I can just keep on waxing eloquent upon how much damage it can do to the hearing. So we've had episodes where there have been bomb blasts. Of course, there it has been the sound pressure, which can even cause a rupture of the eardrum. But if the sound level is continuously more than 85 decibels, and the Industrial Noise Act mentions that anything more than 8 hours of continuous noise level at 85 and above can be detrimental to your hearing. So initially it can cause a small temporary threshold shift, which may come back to normal. But if this is prolonged for longer duration of time, then this becomes a permanent threshold shift, and that is something that is not salvageable. That is very important, we should realize, because once hearing gone, it cannot come back whenever there is such kind of a noise trauma. And today we are talking about 85 decibels. If you look at the loudspeakers, the sound volume is 100 decibels and more. And for every 3 decibel increase in the sound pressure level, which is measured in decibels, the duration of safe exposure starts becoming half. So when we talk about 8 hours at 85 decibels, at 88 to 90 decibels, it is 4 hours, and so on and so forth. So when you reach 100 decibel, even 1.5 to 2 hour exposure, continuous exposure, can be very harmful. And in our festivals, we come across 105, 110 firecrackers, 120 decibels, and even a 10 to 15 minute exposure, or sometimes even lesser, can result in a permanent damage to the hearing. Besides the hearing loss, there is another very, very annoying thing that can happen, and that is tinnitus. And tinnitus is this continuous ringing sound that can happen in the ear, and that can be such a nuisance to the patient that it can even drive that patient to suicide. So that is another thing that causes a detrimental effect on the hearing. We are talking about humans, but we must also mention about the wildlife. So there have been studies which mentioned that the longevity, the life expectancy of urban birds is lesser than rural birds. And one of the factors may be noise pollution. Animals, they require some peace, some quiet, not only for navigation, for searching for food, for even for reproduction, and to protect themselves from other predators. So they also tend to get affected by noise pollution. So there are so many ways that noise affects the life of an individual. And I think later on in the program, we will highlight what are the causes of this. I must mention that the traffic noise, the industrial noise, the construction noise, the noise in the houses with the TV sets, with the music sets. Nowadays, we are a noisy country, and I'm sure we have all read that data that India is one of the noisiest countries in the world, and Mumbai particularly is one of the noisiest cities in the world. And our festivals we celebrate with so much fervor and gusto, but with also a lot of noise. And those things are something that we should look into from the point of view of legislation to try and control. So these are all the features that I have highlighted. And as the program goes along, I would be very happy to again address certain of these problems and the solution to the problem. We should not only talk about the problem, we should also talk about solutions that are practical and that are possible.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Samir Bhargav. And Dr. Bhargav highlighted being an ENT surgeon. He says that people are not understanding if they are exposed to 80 or plus decibel for 8 hours or more, that will be detrimental for their health. And one point which I would like to highlight although he has mentioned almost everything, but one point is the firecrackers. We celebrate, whether it's a Diwali, whether it's any festival, or even the marriages, or even whenever the India wins a cricket match, so much with firecrackers are going on. And what Dr. Bhargav says, even 10 to 15 minutes or even less exposure of such type of high decibel sound can harm, and especially for the children. Now one can understand when this is the situation, still we are nowhere. We are still celebrating without thinking how much harm it is making to us. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhargav, for giving your very, very very elaborating the thoughts about the sound pollution. And I'm sure what you have mentioned about the crossings and the traffic signals, as well as the firecrackers and other things, will definitely be taken care. Yes, Dr. Bhargav, you want to make some point?
Small point on traffic noise. So a few years back, we actually checked the hearing level of traffic police who are stationed at these traffic signals. And it was to our surprise that we found that almost 30 to 35% of the traffic police had hearing loss, which was when they were in their 30s and early 40s, equivalent to what it should happen when you are in your early 60s. So it is an extremely important thing. Of course, the traffic commissioners have taken due care that they rotate the duty hours, etc., etc. But this is something that we need to keep in mind. And also, a lot of the traffic police had high blood pressure, one of the contributing causes being the noise pollution.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bhargav, and especially it is an eye-opener for all those who always try to blame the Indian police. They should know how difficult it is just to stand on the traffic crossing and see on the noise pollution, the other pollution which they are inhaling, and the noise pollution that deafening. How many of us, the civil society people, can stand there? But still, anything goes wrong, we always blame the police. I think civil society should also think that we should give full respect to them. After all, they are doing their duty with putting their own life on the risk. Thank you very much, Dr. Bhargav. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and she is Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali. Ms. Abdul Ali is the renowned environmentalist. She is the convener of Awaj Foundation, Mumbai. Ms. Abdul Ali is an environmentalist activist focusing on sand mining and noise pollution. She is the founder of NGO Awaj Foundation. Sand mining, which has now become an issue of global concern, was first reported by her to the authorities after she noticed sand being illegal mined from Kheem Beach in 2004, where she was physically attacked during a sand mining site inspection. Thereafter, she convened an NGO movement for protection of public interest activists, movement against intimidation, threat, and revenge against activist Mitra, and filed the first public interest litigation, PIL, against sand mining, resulting in policy change at state and national level. She helped bring sand mining to notice worldwide by participating in documentary films and awareness campaigns and contributing to print, radio, and television news. She participated in the first roundtable of the GRID, Geneva United Nations Environment Program, and gave her inputs to their first report, Sand and Sustainability, Finding New Solutions for Environmental Governance of Global Sand Resource. Her work was featured throughout in the final report published in May 2019. Her other focus campaign against noise pollution has become a citizens' movement and has forced policy change in India through court interventions, awareness, and advocacy campaign. A High Court order pursuant to her public interest litigation protects a wildlife corridor frequented by tigers, elephants, and other wildlife. The Savantwadi Doda Marg corridor connects National Park and is part of the Western Ghats, a UNESCO biodiversity hotspot. Ms. Sumaira was co-chairman of the Bombay Natural Histories Conservation Subcommittee. She was honorary secretary of the BNHS and currently a governing council member. Ms. Abdul Ali's work has been extensively reported by the press and media. She has participated in documentary films, television, and radio nationally and internationally. Her columns have been published in Times of India, Mumbai Mirror, DNA, Outlook, India Magazine, and Dainik Bhaskar. She writes a monthly column for Forbes India. She has spoken and presented her work at numerous TEDx events at universities, including Howard University, Boston, IITs, Anjuman-e-Islam, Delhi University, Bombay University, BITS Pilani, Shuloni University, and other youth and community organizations. She has been awarded the Mother Teresa Award for Social Justice, the Olive Crown Award, and is an Ashoka Fellow. Welcome, Ms. Abdul Ali, on our show. Ms. Abdul Ali, you have heard what Dr. Jayesh Lele as well as Dr. Samir Bhargav has spoken before you. And you being the pioneer, I must say, who has created a history and especially a really great relief for Mumbaikars about the time limits and the decibel, the noise pollution. So we would like to know from you the International Noise Awareness Day. Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali, please.
Thank you very much for that introduction. I really value the Indian Medical Association's involvement, participation, leadership in spreading the issue of noise pollution because it is essentially a medical issue. So I will not stress on that. Maybe I am humbled by the doctors, the senior doctors who have spoken and will speak on those aspects. What I would like to speak about is the role of the World Health Organization, our Union Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, who addressed the first global hearing report when it was launched on World Hearing Day in March this year. and launched an app focusing specifically, because he himself being an ENT, he focused on the hearing aspects of noise. And this app, which is a free app downloadable on your mobile phone, can allow anybody to test or check their own hearing. I would request the Indian Medical Association to help popularize such apps, and particularly the National Initiative for Safe Sound, consisting of ENT doctors, to make sure that noise pollution and hearing loss become integrated into public health, just like eye checkups are. I wrote to Dr. Harshvardhan, and he agreed with me. He said the government would be interested in conducting such things, and I look to the IMA. So I would like to start with that. And I would also like to amplify on some of the things that the other speakers have presented so wonderfully. The noise levels in Mumbai have exceeded 123.2. The highest level at a festival was during was in 2013. And across every type of festivals, and communities don't matter. Everybody is competing with the other to make noise levels to this extent. The highest levels of firecrackers, which we have been testing annually since 2004 with the Pollution Control Board, were exceeding 140 dB. And as Dr. Bhargav pointed out, when you are exposed to 140 dB, again, according to the World Health Organization, your exposure level cannot exceed a few seconds. These tests were conducted in an open field where firecrackers were not used all together or in closed spaces with concrete on top of, around, surrounding, like they are on cities in actual use conditions. So in actual use conditions, they are probably even higher. Due to the tests that we managed to do, the government has been, which initially did not consider noise an issue at all, has actually stepped up. And we have worked with the Pollution Control Board, with the police, with the government of Maharashtra, and of course with the government of India, to not only tighten the noise rules, since they were first enacted in 2000. In 2010, the new noise rules made them tighter still. The problem is with implementation. And this connection between noise and health is something that needs to be made much more clear through local studies, which perhaps can be, I would love if we could have studies which tell us, for example, how many people come in for hearing related tests and what are the cause of their hearing loss. I have some anecdotal evidence in that I have seen and interacted with a school of deaf children who has said that one of the children who became deaf because his mother, in her enthusiasm, took him to a temple when he was born and rang the temple bell very loudly. And she believes that that caused deafness. Similarly, I have observed anecdotally many stories of people having these kind of health reactions, which we've been talking about. I have seen a woman having a psychotic fit because she couldn't stand the pounding noise near her while the noise was going on. I have seen a child who was having a convulsion, and the mother was weeping and begging people to stop making noise, but they would not. I have seen these things because I have been receiving noise complaints for the last 20 years and have visited these places. I have received a complaint from a senior citizen who lived with his even more senior citizen mother, threatening to commit suicide because he couldn't stand the thought of the noise which was going to follow in the festivals. The World Health Organization, in their same hearing health report, has said that 430 million people are set to lose their hearing globally. In a map they have attached to the report, they have said that India and these countries surrounding India have the highest percentage of hearing loss by far. In fact, in an earlier report, they even said that children very young children have the hearing level of 60 plus people in previous years. Dr. Harshvardhan, while addressing this event, said that India faces an impending mountain of hearing loss and that the government is committed to do something about it. So as the voice against noise for many years, I know certain First of all, of course, the causes of noise have been listed, so I'm not going to go through them again. But I do know that the way of figuring out the causes of noise and tackling them, the most important way is people's participation. And again, this is something I can illustrate by the fact that when we got the first court order, the noise rules were enacted in the year 2000, following a World Health Organization report and the deliberations in the parliament. Once it was enacted, there were certain, it became clear that implementation was really not happening the way it should. So I filed public interest litigation. When we got the first order in 2003, it became also clear that enforcing that order will then become something that needs to be done. So how do you do that? I met the first journalist I had ever met. The press and media play an absolutely valuable role in spreading awareness, and it's necessary to participate with them. My number was published as the new noise hotline, and people started calling. Finally, it is the people's calls, inputs, which have not only told me what needs to be addressed, where the sources of noise are, and told me where I should be measuring decibel levels, but have encouraged the authorities to take noise seriously and set up systems. The Mumbai police has set up a system where if you call them, the action almost always is very prompt. There are exceptions to that. During lockdown, Mumbai was the only city in the country. I measured noise from various sources, as I said. Traffic noise normally is up to 105 dB before lockdown. During lockdown, when everything was closed last year, March, April, May, it went down to decibel levels of 49 dB on the streets. And then it gradually started going up in the year. Towards the end of the year, it became more. Yesterday, I measured noise levels again to see what this lockdown has to show us. And I found that again, there is traffic, again, there is honking in the hours that traffic is allowed. The traffic level yesterday was up to 88 dB. So it shows us that although we have had experiences of quieter times, quieter cities, blue skies, the ability to hear bird song once again in cities during lockdown, unless we take serious action, this is not going to last. We have also found solutions, as Dr. Bhargav mentioned, in conducting some events using distributed sound system, including college functions, including an open air music festival for more than 2,000 participants at the Banganga tank some years ago. These solutions are possible. Festivals can take place, loudspeakers can take place using headphones. Last year, the Ganpati Mandals Association actually came forward, stepped up, voluntarily banned DJs completely, followed by the Eid-e-Milad organizers who also banned DJs, and found new ways of celebrating festivals where the spirit of the festival kept up. COVID-19 has taught us that health is a very serious and important reason to restrict the way we do certain things, including celebrating festivals. I hope that these lessons will continue and be learned. COVID-19, according to the UN, is a result of multiple environmental factors and destruction. We briefly talked about the role of wildlife and how wildlife migratory patterns get disrupted, how forests get destroyed, how noise pollution plays its role, air pollution, all of those things, they're all interlinked. And if we control one, we are controlling all. Human health is dependent on it. COVID-19 is one kind of thing that we are seeing. I would rather look at the positive aspects of the lessons that we might have learned, even from a terrible, terrible thing like COVID-19, of which you doctors are in the front line suffering from, that there are ways in which we can rethink the way we will reopen. We will rethink the way our relationship with the environment in our own interest, not because we are environmentalists, but because we care about the way our life, our health, our situation is. And these things are something all of us are engaged with. So I would like to conclude by thanking not only the Indian Medical Association for taking up the medical aspects, but thanking the police and the government for recognizing that noise pollution is the new second-hand smoke. It's something we need to tackle. Our traffic noise in Mumbai is back to 88 decibels. Let's not take it back to 105 decibels as it used to be now or ever again. And I would encourage people, request them to download that WHO app, check their hearing, go to a doctor, check that you are not suffering the effects of noise before you have that heart attack or have that mental health breakdown as the woman I saw having a psychotic fit. Please protect your children. Don't take your children to these festivals, press their ears against loudspeakers. If it's harmful for us, it's that much more harmful for them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdul Ali, for giving your very experienced views about the noise pollution. And she mentioned how she has to struggle from one place to other place, whether it was police or the government or the courts, and afterwards the public, how they then only her struggle get the results, and then now all the laws were formed, especially and not only in Maharashtra but the national level, and the Supreme Court also has come out very heavily now that after 10 p.m. no sounds pollutions and all those things. But it was not an easy journey for her. How and she has mentioned that whatsoever she has done, she is doing for the public interest. And she mentioned how she has requested our Honorable Minister of Health, Dr. Harshvardhan, who is also an ENT specialist, this is to be taken very, very seriously, which he has promised that he is definitely going to take this issue very seriously. And one important point which she has made is about how the mothers and newly born child, they take to the religious places without knowing how much harm they are making if there are some noises like ringing the bell, etc. And she has given some examples what she has seen. So these things which are not very clear in the public mind until it is not been popularized, publicized, advertised heavily, until less the people will not come to know. And one more thing she has mentioned about the COVID. Yes, COVID has also shown that how much this noise pollution is there, especially in metros, because there were lots of media reports that people were enjoying the humming, the music of the singing of the birds, their noises, their sound, which they have forgotten in the metros. So these all things is, I must give thanks and salute Miss Abdul Ali for doing so much hard work for the public. And the public should understand, the civil society should understand that they all are working for the benefit of ourselves, not for them. They are working for the society. So we must try to see to it that we must learn from the lessons and abide with the laws and the rules what are in place. Thank you very much, Miss Abdul Ali, for giving such a nice narration of your own experiences. I'm sure it will be going to give a good imprint, especially the youth who should know why the noise pollution is very harmful. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Mr. P. Vijayan, IPS. Mr. P. Vijayan, IPS is a 1999 batch Indian Police Service officer. He is the Inspector General of Police Kerala. He introduced police innovations in a different way. He devised and led the shadow police team with a primary focus on crime detection and prevention of violence against women through effective surveillance in cities, the state. He constituted and headed a special investigation support team, SIST, consisting of police personnel cutting across the ranks who have proven track record and keen interest in investigation of criminal cases. He constituted and leading Kerala Anti-Narcotics Special Action Force, KANSAF, and Clean Campus and Safe Campus program. He was selected to the mid-career MPA program offered by Harvard Kennedy School. He was also the Global Tobacco Control Leadership Program. He attended in the year 2013 at Baltimore, Maryland, USA, focused on tobacco control policy conducted by the Johns Hopkins School for Public Health, JHSPH, US. He also undergone mid-career training program, MCTP, University College London, UK. He participated in 2 consecutive international conferences on law enforcement and public health held in Amsterdam, Netherlands. St. George Puraskar, Social Leadership Award by J.C. Kerala, which he has received. He also received MATHA, Matha Puraskaram 2015, the award for outstanding contribution to society. He received the prestigious President's Police Medal for Meritorious Services in 2015. He also received Chief Minister's Award for Public Policy Innovation in the year 2014. CNN-IBN Indian of the Year Popular Choice Award 2014. He received fellowship from Johns Hopkins University. He received the FICKIes Award for Best Smart Policing Initiative. He was given award for the Indian Icon Award by Friends of Bahrain. Welcome, Mr. P. Vijayan, on our show. Mr. P. Vijayan, you have heard the 2 doctors, Dr. Jayesh Lele as well as Dr. Samir Bhargav, and 1 social activist, Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali. Now, you being a distinguished police officer of the country, and because the police role is very, very important, which was mentioned by the earlier panelists. Now, we would like to know from you, the International Noise Awareness Day. Mr. P. Vijayan, IPS, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lal Goel, and very good morning to one and all. First of all, I'm really grateful to the team IMA for inviting me to this August platform. Especially my special thanks to my good friend, John Panikkar. He has been a constant inspiration to all of us to enter into this field. And in a way, we can say that, that we are surrounded by plethora of issues. Most often, these type of issues are not on our priority list. But Dr. John Panikkar has been constantly pursuing and meeting or motivating us and enlightening about the issues and all. So now, to some extent, we can probably say that Kerala Police is actually has taken this task as on its priority list. And besides observing and all, we have been doing a lot of good things in association with IMA in Kerala. When I was IG Kochi range, we declared few days as horn-free days and honking-free days. Then some sectors we have divided and all that. Here the question is that I consider
Rohan News and Views
noise, increase in noise pollution. Or we can say that it is sometimes that's a volume of based on the volume of impact. It may be much more than the COVID-19 pandemic. But I think that we are not so that much realized and given emphasis to this issue. Here the question is, there is the right to life versus the freedom of speech and expression. Some people think that the freedom of expression or freedom of speech is much more. It should be more and more louder. Then only you will be really exercising the Article 19 of Indian Constitution. But it is fundamentally all these are based on that right to live. Here this is the increase in noise pollution. It's really a threat to the life, especially to the vulnerable sections of society, especially children or the aged and all. Here one thing that is the perpetrators of this crime is the most powerful people in the society, especially the religious people. Religious group is the most poised. I used to wonder that the religion exists for the well-being of human being, the mental and physical well-being of the human being. But it is actually, in fact, very often, especially during its festivals and all, it's actually going against the very purpose of its existence. That's creating huge noise. It's in my own capital city also. It has been found that several times, that is during the festival time, it's better to get evicted from that city. So the thing is, the religion is basically stand for the well-being of human being, but it's for, in fact, in practice, often it goes against the very existence of human being. So the one thing is that there is a very powerful people like religious guys, or there is the political entities. This is the very powerful people. Other side, the police, the problem is that the teethless or a powerless law or rules which we have. We generally fall upon, even though there are around 15, 16 acts related to the environmental protections, various aspects of environmental protection, but the noise pollution acts and rules of 2000 and the environmental protection acts, these two laws and the Kerala Police Act, in every state there will be a local act of the State Police Act. Here we use 121 of the Kerala Police Act. Here, 2-3 things you must understand. One is that the designated authority is a subdivisional officer and then district collector or the district police chief. Here, that this is highly widespread. You can sense that noise pollution, the violation of the rules is everywhere in the state or every nook and corner. Do you think that is a subdivisional officer will be able to always reach to this place? So the thing is that it has been put it in such a way that it should be very less used. This provision has to be not to be usually very extensively. So another thing is that it is in the police terminology, we are not filing any police report. It's not an investigation report. It's as per the 173 CRPC. We are submitting a complaint. Complaint problem is that the officer who is investigating is not present. It can be just dismissed by the court as a then and there, just like any petty case. So that is one big issue. Then here the problem is that that is a very interesting thing. Any case there will be a fact-in issue. The fact-in issue is being generally censored by our 5 senses. So either touch or by seeing, by heard or like that. That is we call that eyewitnesses. Here there is no role for eyewitnesses or the 5 senses. If you don't have if it is not been measured by a sound level meter, that crime has not happened. Suppose in one particular area, a crime happens and we get a report or a complaint or we reach that. Suppose it is over. Now, by the time they say that they will reduce the volume. So the thing is that crime has not happened. Based on the witness reporter, based on the statements of the victims, we cannot register a case or file charge sheet the case. That is really a big, all other crimes. Suppose a murder happens. Murder happens is your eyewitness statement is very crucial. But in this case, it is not that meter has to say that this has happened at that particular point of time. This made in the enforcement of this act very, very difficult from the police point of view. You just imagine that if it is a murder is not been live telecast, that doesn't exist. Like that, this is saying that is when the offense occurs, this meter has to be there. We have to measure it and show it on this one. Then only we can register a case and charge it before the court. Here that is, that what very often, considering the difficulties and pain of the people, we generally add some sections along with the Environmental Protection Act. That is the 308 generally, 308 IPC. 308 IPC says the culpable homicide not amounting to the murder. The saying that there is a knowledge, it is a threat to this person, the perpetrator is having the knowledge that his act or responsible act or omission may cause danger to the person. So we add this 308 to make this case cognizable and non-bailable. So like that we are actually doing. So the thing is that we must give more teeth to this case, to the law, then only the enforcement will be more meaningful. But besides that, I can say that our own police personnel also are not so much sensitized about this issue. As the honorable delegates are talking about, that is we are one of the serious important victims of this offense actually. Our policemen, this is not just impairment of their hearing, it creates immense other health problem. The increase in stress, then there's related cardiac issues, various other stress-related health problems are really mounting up before the age of 56. Many people are becoming sick because of this type of noise pollution and various types of pollution to which our force is being exposed. But still, our force is not that much sensitized. It may be because of there is a shortage of police, this manpower, or may not be having sufficient cooperation we are not getting from this pollution control board, or we may not be having that this equipment, or we may not be having that much legal awareness about this, or it's about this health consequences and all. But we are not taking it on the priority list. When it comes up the priority list, Generally, we are VIP visit several elections, several times, several festivals going on. So all this will come on for our priority list. So the most important things very often we are skipping. So there is some sort of really from the academy side, it's a training institute center itself. Our EMA can do it. Every training institute, if we can make a focal point to influence the enforcers, that will be very, very useful to, it will be making a very good impact. Here the solution is that, what I am saying that beside either the doctors community or the medical community are the really knowledgeable people about the health impact. But the perpetrators are living somewhere else. They are the religious people, they may be politicians, they may be some other people and all. So we must take them along with us in educating and making them what wrong, what crime they are really doing against the humanity. When we bring all them to this platform, then only we can make a huge impact in this one. What we have done is that there is a student community we have created, a student police cadet program. It is having around 5 lakhs plus students. We are trained 600 hours of training continuously for 2 years, and it has now been replicated as nationwide. Now we have made them in association with the IMA and all. We are sensitizing them. We have thought of making them that is an ambassadors against noise pollution. So because if we will teach, these people their attitude is not so set. The mindset is not so set. If we can influence them, they'll be making a huge impact in future. So, but due to the corona pandemic, we could not make a big impact, but still we'll be, even now this is the proposal is pending. We hopefully will be able to make them more sensitive and they'll be really making an impact in society. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much, Mr. P. Vijayan, for giving your views, very, very clear views. And I will just highlight one point which he has mentioned. He says those who are supposed to be the benefit, giving the benefit to the humanity, to the humans, are doing the maximum crime against the humans. And he has mentioned about the religious leaders as well as the politicians. They says that they are organizing the programs without knowing how much harm they are making to the humanity, to the human beings, by using so much high decibel noise. And he has also mentioned that how police is helpless because there is no eyewitness, as and he is mentioned very clearly, unless you don't have the meter with you, whatsoever you will say in the court, it will not stand, because the eyewitness for a murder, a person who can see it can very well say, but what you have heard, and if you are not recorded, means that the meter is not there. Your program, after the program, it is of no use. And he has also mentioned that the police is trying to put 3008 so that at least the non-bailable section can be inserted. And he says the police itself is the victims, and they are the maximum victims for all religious functions, for all political rallies or elections. The police is always there, and they have to hear with those noises continuously, because they have been posted, the police person is posted apart from the traffic junctions. Thank you very much, Mr. P. Vijayan, for raising this very, very valid point. I'm sure the government, state government, although now elections are over, now we will see the result, who is going to the next government, or even the central government should take cognizance of this and must come out with some more stringent laws so that the accused or those who are creating this problem should be punished irrespective of their post and position in the society. Thank you very much, Mr. P. Vijayan, IPS. Now, I would like to invite my next guest, and he is Dr. C.N. Raja. Dr. C.N. Raja, FRCS, DLORCS, MS, is the National Vice President 2022 of Indian Medical Association. He worked in government service as ENT surgeon for 12 years. He was assistant professor in ear, nose, and throat for 3 years in Changalpattu Medical College. He worked in the UK for 5 years at various hospitals as ENT surgeon. He was All India Governing Council member in Ear, Nose, and Throat Association, AOI, All India Council member of Indian Medical Association, past president of Indian Medical Association Erode branch, past secretary of ENT Association Erode, past president of Erode Indian Medical Association Trust, president of Nandi Matriculation School Erode, founder trustee member of IMAYAM Center for Terminally Ill Cancer Patients, Governing Council Member IMA CGP 2009-2011, Assistant Secretary IMA TNSB 2010, Sports Committee Chairman IMA TNSB 2011-12, President of Association of Otolaryngologists of Tamil Nadu 2010-2012, West Zone Vice President Indian Medical Association 2011, past State Secretary IMA TNSB 2014-15, past NHB Secretary IMA TNSB 2016-17, State President 2020 IMA TNSB, IMA National Vice President 2022. He presented papers in the various national and international forums in the field of ENT. He is running a center for hearing handicapped children. He was the first surgeon to do cochlear implant in the periphery apart from metros. Currently practicing as ENT surgeon at Annai ENT and Head and Neck Care Center, Erode. Welcome, Dr. C.N. Raja on our show. Dr. Raja, you have heard the earlier panelists, Dr. Jayesh Lele, Dr. Samir Bhargav, Ms. Sumaira Abdulali, as well as Mr. P. Vijayan, IPS. Now, we would like to know from you your views on the International Noise Awareness Day. Dr. C.N. Raja, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lal Goel. Good morning to everyone. Dr. Jayesh Lele, the Honorary Secretary General, and Dr. John Panikar, who is the backbone of the Safe Sound Initiative, and our IG from Mr. Vijayan from Trivandrum, Ms. Sumaira Abdul Ali, Dr. Samir Bhargav, the President of AOI. And I've been hearing nearly more than 1 hour for all the distinguished, most enlightened and educated speakers talking on this International Noise Awareness Day. I like to start a quote from the famous poet who has said 2000 years ago in Tamil, Thiruvalluvar. He says, Selvathul Selvam, Sevichelvam, Achelvam, Selvathul Illam Talai. That means we have a lot of wealth, but the topmost, the highest wealth in this world is the ear and the hearing. That is the importance he has given for the ear and the hearing, so that we can understand how important is the hearing. Of course, in the beginning of this universe, after Big Bang Theory, everything was silent. And the entire universe and the world has been formed after a sound. According to one theory, it's called Om. Yes, the sound we need for our communication. Yes, we need the sound for the language development. Yes, we need the sound for the knowledge. And of course, when the sound is more and more, it is destroying not only the human, but the entire world at large. As our earlier speakers mentioned, the harmful effects of the noise not only affecting the human beings, birds, animals, and everything. And because of the civilization, we have this noise pollution. Of course, the civilization makes a man a better human being. I hope we are all very frequent travelers abroad. After a week or 10 days travel to abroad, when we come down and land up in our own country in the airport, the first annoying thing what we experience, the honking of the cars, taxis, and the road traffic sound. One of the most worst, the noise polluting problem is the traffic sound. People think by making noise, they feel that they have a more authority, and they think they have more say. As our IG pointed out, the expression of their views and making loud noise, they can drive across their views to feel for others to understand. But in other words, I feel that it's sort of an arrogance and making people to suffer. And our festivals being followed and conducted for ages, but those days it was not so. Of late, we learned the wrong way of celebrating our festivals, our marriages, and all other important functions with a loud noise, which is we need to tell the people not to follow that. Of course, it is highly difficult to curtail this, but doing things like seminars and awareness programs and taking this sort of information as a people movement, we can educate our people. We all know that the loss of hearing due to any sort of noise or any other harmful effect is a permanent one. As already Dr. Bhargava mentioned, that the problem of tinnitus is ever increasing now. We are seeing more and more patients are coming with tinnitus, which is the noise itself happening inside the ear due to the harmful effect of the outside noise. And they are not able to sleep. They are not able to concentrate. They even, as rightly pointed out, they even pushed to go in for committing suicide. In my place, Erode is a district headquarters. We have a lot of power loom factories, spinning mills, and many people are coming after working there for about 10 years or 12 years, losing their hearing permanently. And we say that is because of a professional issue and your job, you are losing your hearing. It is very difficult for them to accept. It is a paramount duty of not only the ENT surgeons, not only the IMA, not only the Association of Otolaryngologists of India, not only the Indian Academy of Otolaryngologists and Internet Surgeons. It is everybody's responsibility to make and understand that we have to curtail the noise level. What is the use of education? What is the use of civilization without understanding this? Unless we all work together, the silent killer, the harmful effects already been explained by everyone. And the subcontinent is not understanding the basic problem of the noise. People think making noise is their basic right. It is not so. This fundamental right they think. And many times we have experienced how badly we experience the noise inside the cinema theater. All these things are very important. Of course, the most burning issue is the COVID. Yes, that is the most burning issue, but this is again a long-term, a silent problem affecting the entire community. As rightly pointed out by Ms. Smera, we have had a lot of difficulties during this COVID, but people enjoyed. One thing during the lockdown is the experience of the silence, less noise, and how beautiful this universe. We are talking about the religious personalities. We are talking about the so-called the top of the religious personalities entire world. They are the followers of our saints, seekers, and those famous personalities like Buddha. They taught the silence. They learned. They got their jnanam because of the silence which they got it, and they preached to the entire community. Similarly, we must tell and explain even from the school age as a curriculum, because that is the time everything will go into their mind. And I think being a doctor, it is not only treating the patient is a paramount duty, but creating awareness, educating the mass is most important thing. I am sure that our Honorable Union Health Minister, he is also an ENT surgeon, will agree with us. I am very happy that this NIS, the National Initiative for Safe Sound, under the guidance of John Panikkar, is from 2013, is doing excellent work constantly and continuously in educating. One side, awareness is important, education is important, and implementation of the law is very important. And we have to revisit the law and make it more stringent for the community.
ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವ್ಯೂಸ್
Thank
ಈ
you for the
ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ
opportunity.
Thank you very
ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಕರು
much, Dr.
ರೋಹನ್
Raja.
ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್
And
ಸಹ ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಕರು
because of the
ಐಡಿಯಲ್
paucity of
ಕೆಫೆ
time,
ಮತ್ತು
I will not
ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ
try to
ಎಜುಕೇಶನಲ್
go
ಅಂಡ್
for the summarization of what he has said, but he has made his point very, very clear. Now, I would like to ask Dr. Jayesh Lele. Dr. Jayesh Lele, you have mentioned about the pubs and discos. Now, time is only 1 minute for the answer. That pubs and discos, why the IMA is not moving to the government?
ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ವ್ಯೂಸ್ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಕರು ರೋಹನ್ ಕಾರ್ಪೊರೇಷನ್ ಸಹ ಪ್ರಾಯೋಜಕರು ಐಡಿಯಲ್ ಕೆಫೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಎಜುಕೇಶನಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಚಾರಿಟೇಬಲ್ ಟ್ರಸ್ಟ್ ಹೆವೆನ್ ರೋಸ್.
Bar or stop all these pubs and discos so that the high decibel sound level should not harm our youth or the young generation. Dr. Jayesh Lele, please. Please unmute Dr. Jayesh Lele.
Yeah, I really, it's a very good point. Our collectively wisdom has taken up a very important issue, and the pop generation is a future generation everywhere. And as everybody agreed that hearing loss and subsequently other issues coming up, other serious nature, we must try to begin some good program to begin with. And yes, definitely we have this Sunday, we have a central working committee where we'll present today's programs, discussion, and definitely we'll take up this issue about the noise pollution and the pub culture and how we can curtail. See, we cannot stop the pub culture. Well, let us, but then at least we can curtail the sound of the pub culture to great extent, which cannot do further harm to the people. So this will be taken up definitely by point. And our Dr. John Panikkar and entire our team standing committee is meant for that. We'll discuss out, make the recommendation, and we will give it to the government. And fortunately, our health minister, being a ENT surgeon by himself, would definitely be giving the attention to that. And let us all work towards this very important issue to handle it as our exercise for the International Noise Pollution Day. Very important hot topic, you can say.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Lele. Dr. Samir Bhargav, one side we are talking about that this earphones are harming the children. Other side, the online education, COVID time online education for last more than 1 year. A small child, they are also sitting in front of the laptop. How we are going to control that? Do you think it is advisable that they should use the earphone, or they should not use if they are not using the earphones, the disturbance, because one room, if a person is staying in a one room flat, how he or the child can curtail the noises coming from the family, this thing. What do you say about that, Dr. Bhargav?
As far as the use of earphone is concerned, the damage happens when you are listening to loud sounds and loud music. There is not enough data to prove very conclusively that prolonged use at normal volumes is going to be very detrimental. We still have the data is not completely out. Yes, but the electromagnetic radiation is something that can also be causing the damage. Just the noise volume is not the only thing, unless you're listening to loud music. So education, both to the children as well as the bureaucrats as well as the politicians. That only will make things better.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Bhargav. Ms. Abdul Ali, my question to you, are such a leading activist. In India, we found that all the international flights are in the night, while in all other countries, whether USA or UK, they always have a silent zone during the night time. Are you also planning to move to the government or to the court that no flight should take place during the night? After all, that is a noise is also harming, as you have already discussed in this, Ms. Abdul Ali?
Yes, there have been court rulings on this, and the court has ordered the government to, in all new airports, to set up an area which is a green zone where trees have to be planted and residences cannot come up close by. That's one. We have also objected to helipads and helicopters, which were going to be used inside cities, with project proponents being the only people to regulate the sound. So that's two. The third is existing airports and restriction of night flights. So Mumbai was the first airport in the world to make the inside of the airport silent. So we have no announcements. Having done that, I think really we need a much better implementation of the zone levels outside the airport so that the people living outside the airports can also be protected. We have done some studies on airport noise. We have presented the data to the government. Helicopters measure beyond 120 dB, as do aircrafts and jets at close range. So yes, that is something we are working on.
Okay, thank you very much. My question to you, Mr. P. Vijayan IPS. See, today we know, everybody knows the life or miserable life of a police constable who is standing in the traffic junction, maximum noise pollution. What steps police department is taking? Are they planning to ban the total honking? If anybody will honk anywhere whatsoever, is it possible or not from your point of view?
Mr. Goel, this is something, it's a complete banning of honking. It's, police works on the strength of law. If we don't have a law, we can't enforce it. Unless and until the government, the legislators decide that we must have a law which empowers the police into strict enforcement of noise pollution. Honking of horns also comes under that one. If we don't have that one, that will not be able to do. We are now using our goodwill or our organizational capacity and all, and convincing the people and making some sectors as honking free and all. But we have to go on large scale. We have to be empowered with the law. Then only we'll be able to do it.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, my question goes to Dr. Raja. Dr. Raja, firecrackers are manufactured